Brittany. I'm a self-love coach, self-care connoisseur, and supplement enthusiast. This podcast is all about taking your power back in your own life by creating a killer self-care routine and discovering a love for all parts of you. Mind, body, and soul. Being a mom is fucking hard, and that's not even including the mental roller coaster you go on to discover who you are as a person again. I'm here to help you regain your confidence and stop putting yourself on the back burner. I feel like I say this every fucking podcast. I love doing these. I seriously, genuinely love recording these. It is so, I don't know, I love it. But I am newer to the coaching world. I'm still trying to navigate that. Still trying to navigate this podcast, come up with ideas and all the things between TikToks and Reels and like everything. And so it's a little overwhelming. So I've just been kind of taking it day by day, step by step, and really trying to make a plan. But I know that this is something that I really love and enjoy. And some podcasts may have so much research and facts and like all the things in them, so much structure. And some may just be me talking and telling a story, kind of like what I'm going to do today. First, I kind of want to dive in a little bit about what's coming, because I know I like I said, I love doing this, so I want to keep this up, but I really want to get into talking more about health and wellness and like the victim mindset, victim mentality, and depression, seasonal depression, because I know we're getting into those cold months, and you know, I want like all the witchy vibes, the self-love, self-care practices that have a little bit of that, if you will, like witchcraft inside of them, because those are like my favorite. And that sometimes you just need to make time for yourself and not everyone else. That's something else that I want to talk about in the podcast to come, how to do that, how to set boundaries, things like that. Overwhelm, how to chunk it down, how to not be so overwhelmed in life, especially as moms. You know, we have a lot of shit going on. We got to figure out a system that works for us, a self-care routine, a self-love routine. That's what this is all about. And I'm going to show you the ins and outs of doing that and accomplishing that for yourself. Now, everyone is different, obviously. So take bits and pieces of this, of each podcast, and apply it to your own life. If you want a self-love, self-care routine that's super custom to you, or practices that you think would benefit you, this is where I come in. This is where my coaching comes in. I love providing free resources because we all love free, right? So if you can learn some information for free, that is perfect. But if you really are serious about your self-love and self-care journey and finding what works for you specifically, then that's where you hook up with me. We get together, we talk about all the things, nitty gritty. We open up all those layers. We do all the deep diving into your subconscious and your conscious mind and figuring out what we got to do to make you the best you that you can be. Also finding how to find gratitude within yourself instead of looking for external gratification, because I feel like that's something a lot of people do, a lot of moms end up doing. We have so much going on. We want people to tell us, hey, you're doing an amazing job. And although it does feel so amazing to hear that, I love hearing it. We want to come from a place of, we don't want to come from a place of, you never tell me these things. You never tell me I am doing a good job. You never tell me, to our spouse, our family, people around us. We want to be able to give ourselves that gratification. So, because we are the only opinion that really matters when it comes to our celebrations and what we do. So that's another thing we're going to be deep diving into, and I'm so freaking excited. Let me tell you, I'm getting all fired up. So today I'm just going to tell you a little story, but this is just what's to come. So that is just a little sneak peek. So for this podcast, I am going to talk about an experience I had with a physician, with a endocrinologist, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. And I have been on the journey. This is the journey that I'm in right now, so I'm going to talk about a little bit about that. I have been on a journey to finding where my physical health and my hormones and how I can just kind of combine those together and feel good. Like I feel the best I've ever felt, but I know that this isn't where it stops. I know I could feel better, and physically, mentally, I feel like I've got it pretty covered. I do a lot of routines and stuck with a lot of routines and and been super consistent in them, which I'm so proud of myself, and you should be too. Even if you're just taking that little step forward, every step is progress in my eyes. So, anyways, my primary care doctor decided, hey, how about you see a hormone specialist? And I said, sure, why not? Like, that sounds perfect. So I saw a dermatologist because I have a lot of hormonal acne. I have PCOS. I have some stuff going on. And since having my daughter over 3 years ago, the first year or two, I didn't really invest into my mental health. And now that I am really deep diving into this, I figured hormones is a great way to start, considering my diet has been pretty good, so much better than it used to be. I've been exercising, not consistently. That's another thing that I'm going into in this journey. And just taking a step back and really getting into the nitty gritty, the deep dive into my health and what I can do. Weight loss is not what my journey is. Yes, I will probably lose weight because I am doing these things and taking these new steps into my physical health. Also, balancing my hormones is going to make a huge impact on that. And I know I gained a lot of weight because of my hormones and with PCOS and things like that, and other birth controls, all that, right? But I am always going to be a self-love coach. That is my main priority, is loving your body to the fullest extent, loving who you are inside out, your brain, your body, your soul. And that is what I'm all about. And me having these hormone imbalances is not the healthiest version of me. And I love myself enough to put in this work, this effort, this time, this gas, the money, and even money into myself and into these appointments and into supplements and things like that, because I love myself. I want it to have the best of the best and be the best of the best. And it doesn't matter what size you are. You can be overweight or heavy or, thick or curvy or whatever word you use to describe, or fat. That's a word that women are taking back, and I think it's fucking phenomenal. Or you can be as thin, skinny, small, whatever you want to use, whatever, adjective you want to use to describe yourself. Whatever you categorize as, you can always find some sort of way to hate on yourself, not love yourself. So I don't think size necessarily matters in this. I've seen really small, lighter people hate on themselves and not like how their body want a curvier body or want this or want that and change their body or whatever they want. And then I've also seen the same in the opposite. So I don't think that necessarily matters when this comes to this. So that's why I just felt like I had to put a little disclaimer out there, a long disclaimer. So this doctor, I was going into it thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to change the game for me. I just need help. Like, I have done everything that I know to do to help me balance these hormones and try to be the best version of myself, as I said. And so I just need help. I need a professional's help for this. So going into this, I had a very open mind. I was open to pretty much anything, but I did mention a few symptoms that I had that even, I wasn't 100% sure. They took all my medications that I take on a regular basis, which, if you know me, I take like 4 to 5, sometimes more daily. So I wrote them all down. I did all the paperwork. I did everything that I felt I needed to do to give him as much information that I felt that I could to help him do his job better for me, right? So we're sitting there talking. He's going over my prescriptions I have one prescription, all my supplements and vitamins and things. And I mention a few things. One, it was, I believe that my hormones are imbalanced because I am pushing really hard I was pushing really hard in the gym. I was going like 6 days a week, 45 minutes, sometimes longer, pushing really, really hard in the gym, eating super, super clean, lost about 30 pounds. And then 15 to 30, it was somewhere in there. And then I stopped going that frequently. I was just working out a couple days a week. And I was eating like a more sustainable diet, versus the very restrictive, hard pushing diet, because that's not how I want to live. So switched it up. It did help, but I ended up putting most of that weight back on. I did keep off over the span of a year. I kept off about 15 pounds total. And then I went down to my current weight, which is around 230. And I've kind of fluctuated about 5 to 10 pounds, and they've come and they've gone, and they haven't really, they always come back. Again, it's totally fine. I don't weigh every day. I don't weigh even every week. I very rarely weigh. I feel how I feel, and that's it. I'm not going to go into any more about that. But as I'm explaining all these symptoms, the weight loss, how I think that's why that's affecting. I also have PCOS, which is documented. My armpits have this, oh my God, odor, disgusting. Does not matter what deodorant I've used. I've used so many different deodorants. I've tried so many different things. And since adding magnesium into my diet, that has, into my supplements, that has helped a ton, but it's not completely gone. And I've had this issue since I had my daughter, right? And he asked what weight I was. He was just so focused on the weight. I also told him, which I wasn't sure if it was related, migraines. I also told him about my acne, how it's specifically in one part of my face. I don't talk on the phone with it pressed to my cheek because I don't want my dirty phone on my face. I mostly talk on speakerphone unless I'm in public, and even then I try to keep it off of my face. I don't touch my face. I clean my sheets, all these. I've done all the things that I feel like I need to do. And I didn't say all of this to him, but this is what, I'm thinking in my brain, this is what's going on. And so the whole appointment, I was there for an hour, almost an hour. The whole time we talked about weight loss. And I'm like, listen, I told him, I said, I am not completely opposed to pharmaceuticals. I said, I would rather not be on them long term, but I'm okay with it if it's going to help. And then he asked if I was trying to get pregnant. I told him no, because I'm not trying to have another kid right now. And, and the most natural way possible would be the best option. I am willing to try pretty much anything that's natural. Let me know. I'll do it. I'll do the work. I'll do the time. I'll do whatever I got to do. I just need some advice. And the whole time, he talked about weight loss. And I'm like, dude. And then he started talking about pharmaceuticals, and I said, well, is there any natural options you you would recommend? And he says, I don't believe in supplements for weight loss. And I was like, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about weight loss. I'm talking about balancing my hormones. Then this man proceeds to tell me that female hormones do not affect weight. And I was done after that. I still try to keep an open mind. I was still listening because I was like, okay, maybe he can offer me. I hate for this appointment to be a total flop. I'm going to just listen to this guy. I'm going to take in this information, do my own research, and it's fine. I'm just going to listen, right? And so I know he could tell that I was I'm sorry, the fuck? Tell me why PCOS, birth control, all of these things that are for women, all of these conditions and diseases and all of these things that are women, female, has to do with female anatomy. Tell me how that makes sense. All of these things, the number one, one of the first symptoms is weight gain. Tell me how that fucking makes sense. Because for me, it doesn't fucking make sense. And I was like, okay, but I'm not a professional. So I just, and mind you, he never mentioned one time how to help, any advice, nothing. He didn't mention or talk about or ask about anything other than weight. He never tried to help me with my migraines. He never tried to help me with the armpit situation. He never mentioned acne. He did not say anything about any of it, only the weight loss. And now I understand how weight loss can be tied to some of these things, or maybe my diet or, my exercise and stuff. That's another thing. He told me exercise doesn't matter. And he said that, okay, well, if we're trying to lose weight naturally, the only way is for a calorie deficit, to have a calorie deficit, which I understand. I've known about for a long time. So I was like, okay. And he's like, well, how many calories do you eat? I was like, well, I don't really track calories. I said I was tracking my macros a while ago. So I'd say if I had to put a number on it, it would be, around 1,500 calories. And he was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like that's pretty average. I said sometimes more, sometimes less. It really, not very often is it less though. I said sometimes more, sometimes less. I said it really depends on like what stage I'm at in my cycle. And, or if I'm sick or whatever, all the things that take into account how your body works. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. It just depends. And he tells me, he was like, okay, well, if that's where you're at and you want to lose weight, his words, not mine, then we need to have you in, and we need to probably restrict that a little more. I have never in my life heard of anyone eating on a regular basis like around 1,200 calories. What? And I feel like the whole time that I was in this room, like with him, I felt as though I'm sitting here. He looks at me. He sees my weight. He sees my BMI, and he sees what I look like. And he's like, he's only looking at numbers. He's only asking me numbers. This is like, what weight do I want to be at? What weight was I at before I had my daughter? What weight all those things, right? And he's looking at these numbers and he's saying, you're fat. And I'm like, okay, listen, I take ownership in that. I'm fat. I'm like, that is who I am. And I'm okay with this, right? I am so glad that I'm secure in myself enough to go into that situation, speak to this doctor and him tell me these things and make like basically telling me, okay, you're fat, so you eat like shit and you don't work out and you're lazy as fuck. Like that is the vibe that I got from this man. And he's mind you, the closest, my normal doctor, he's the only one there. So there's all these women, and in this area, there's like women coming from everywhere, right? Because it's like the only one closest to like, anyways, quite a few cities. And he's the only one, if you don't want to go like an hour out from where I went, because it's only like 30 minutes for me, 20 minutes for me. But if I was to go the other way, closer to where I live, it would be about like 30 minutes, which is totally fine. I will go that far for someone else. But for all these other women that's it. Unless they want to drive an hour to an hour and a half to go somewhere else, this is who they're stuck with. And it just made me honestly so sad and so hurt that it made me, not everyone is as secure in themselves. Not everyone loves themselves like I do. And that's okay. Like we're all in our own journeys in this. But imagine someone who wasn't and went to him and was like, focused on weight loss over all of these things that this other woman or even man, is telling him. And he's like, you need to lose weight. I'm going to give you 5 different prescriptions, have all of these side effects, and you have to choose one. So then I'm like, well, my gut, my stomach is like, I have a lot of stomach issues, whatever. I already have these stomach issues. These are going to cause more. And then he's like, I don't know, basically judging me. And it was kind of pissing me off. It triggered me a little bit. And he was like, well, that would probably be something I would see a dietitian about. I said, yeah, I'll probably just see a dietitian then. Because I was like, listen, little bitch, like, talking shit, you're judging me. You say, I am not about that. And I'm sorry if this was a little long, but let me tell you, it was eventful. And I'm honestly, to be 100% honest with you, I am glad that happened to me. I'm not glad that he is that way, but I'm glad that I had something like this happen to me. because I've had experiences before with male doctors that have just pushed it off, even female. It doesn't necessarily have to be male. Female doctors, male doctors that have just kind of pushed off my symptoms. It's normally male though. And I've had this happen before, but I've never had it to the extremity that I had it today. And so it just opened a new way of seeing for me a little bit. And it kind of, especially me just recently kind of getting into this year, getting into the coaching world and supporting other women, it really just kind of shows me like maybe some other women need support in that. So I hope that you can connect. I hope you don't connect with this at all. I hope you never have an experience like this. But if you have, just know that you're not alone, that most women do, and that we are in this together to lift each other up and be here for each other and support each other and just hear each other and listen, because we've been, for generations and generations, we have been oppressed and shut down and told that our opinions and what we think and what we feel doesn't matter, and it does. So I love you, and I hope you have a great day. So it's been a few weeks since I've seen this hormone specialist. I even got in contact with my primary care physician to talk to him about, hey, I don't feel comfortable going back to him. Like, I want to see someone else. And he's just not meeting my needs the way he needs to, things like that. And he asked if I could just make an appointment, or asked if he could find me a gynecologist. And I told him I already made an appointment with him and that I've already discussed this with my gynecologist anyways. And he says that I need to see a hormone specialist also. So needless to say, I've already made an appointment with my gynecologist because I wanted to discuss some other things with him anyways. And so I guess I'm just going to have to go to him and talk to him again about the situation and then see what he can do for me, because obviously these other doctors don't care. Another thing I'm going to do is message through, we have this like chart system with my doctor that you could like message your doctor or the nurses. And so I am going to talk to him and be like, so what about my other things that we were supposed to discuss at this appointment but was never discussed? And I guess just see what he has to say about that, because literally none of my shit it's just so frustrating. And I know most of you women have probably felt this as well. Going to different doctors. My gynecologist, thank God, is like amazing and so thoughtful and always asks me what I want to do and how I feel and what I believe in and things like that. Is always just very conscious. And so I guess I'll update you in my stories on Instagram. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a review and share with another mama who could use some support. If you'd like to connect with me elsewhere, I'm on Instagram and TikTok. All my social links will be in the show notes. And just remember to love yourself and do something for you every single day.